Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 37th episode of Visioncon Live, your go-to nerdy talk show. I'm your host, Zach Wilson, but much more importantly, we're joined by two very special guests in this corner. We've got Bowser and Dry Bowser from the Super Mario franchise, the legendary Koopa King, and my fellow long-haired brother-in-arms. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the one, the only, Kenny James. Kenny, how you doing today?
Swell.
Well,
I ate too much, but other than that, I'm fine.
Oh, man, story of my life. Well, and in this corner, we have Princess Peach, Toad, and Toadette, also from the Super Mario franchise. Don't let her regal demeanor fool you. She's a force to be reckoned with. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the one, the only, Samantha Kelly. Samantha, how you doing today?
Hi. Good. I'm good. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to have you guys. I told you guys a little earlier, I've definitely been looking forward to this episode for a long time. So let's kick things off. The first question I wanted to talk to you guys about, and this is a little bit of a VisionCon Live first, having two guests at the same time. So I'll have you guys probably answer, one after the other, or if it's like a group question, answer together, obviously. But for the first question, kind of how did you guys get in the business? Obviously, you voice two or some of the greatest characters and most popular characters to ever be created. But was this always the plan, or did something happen later in life that kind of got you to where you are today? Kenny, let's start with you.
Yeah, I don't know. At one point along my life, I decided that, voice work would be cool because I always liked it. I always liked mimicking cartoons when I was a kid and stuff. And then when I got old, when the internet first started happening, I got a website and I was like, all right, I'm going to be a voice actor. And I took a class and got a demo made, but nothing ever happened much. I was getting some work from some guy in Canada for like $8 a line or something. And then I was working in my regular job, and a nice lady overheard me talking about doing voice work. And so I gave her my information, and she passed it along to Bad Animals over in Seattle, where they record. And they started sending me auditions, and one of them wound up being this one. And so I was like, all right. And then I got it. But yeah, I always figured that I'd end up in cartoons somehow. This is pretty close.
I was about to say pretty.
Well, I mean, I am in cartoons now too, but it's anime, so it's a different animal.
Yeah, a different animal, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's all ADR instead of recording everything from the fresh. So,
sure. Yeah. Well, Samantha, what about you? Was this always the plan, or did something happen that kind of got you here?
Yeah, definitely something happened. When you're a little kid, kind of what your giftings are. And if you love making funny voices and your parents tell you stop it, like you're being very annoying, and, then you're probably going to make some good voices someday. And that was me. I didn't know that there would be a job where you could get paid for that. So I was like, well, this is pretty cool. And what I was doing, my real job is in radio stations. And so I was doing radio shows, and then I had a bunch of different commercials that I did, like for Nordstrom or Amazon Fresh, different commercials. And I had an agent. And so she sends this audition, and my friends played Mario games. I had never played before. And I went on the audition, and then it was Jen Taylor who was voicing it then. And I was like, that sounds just like me. It sounds exactly like me. And even the Toad voice, that was a voice that I had played with when I was a little kid, when my mom was tucking me into bed. And I had this little puppet character named Cedric. And, my mom would be like, stop it, you're driving me crazy. And then it was like, this is kind of a fit. And I didn't realize how big it was and how cool it was until after I did it. And then I played the game. And then I was just like, this is awesome. and so, no, just blessed, totally blessed. And it came.
I had a guy in the Navy one time that told me that I was too weird to be human, that I should be a cartoon character.
Well,
so that kind of worked out.
Rude, but also right. But you brought up something, Samantha, that I just want to touch a little bit on, because both of you, in different aspects, growing up, but before you guys got to voicing such popular characters, both had vocations that heavily involved your voice. You with radio, and Kenny, you with singing. So were there any
Yeah.
aspects of, both singing and doing radio work that help you in your job voicing, video game and anime characters?
I think being on stage with bands, so singing all the time, at least then. Well, and we had also recorded an album at one time, which didn't wind up getting fully produced. The producer flaked on us. But the thing about being in the studio, so when I did walk in there, I just acted like I knew what I was doing, even though I was horrified. I was completely terrified because I hadn't done any voiceover. So I was like, okay, yeah, I've been in a studio before. I know how to stand behind a microphone and make noise come out.
Sure.
But yeah, but I was scared to death. But I think that helped a lot. And then what's helped since was that the same time that I started doing Bowser was about the same time that I started acting on stage. So now the acting chops were definitely developed by, theater rather than studying voiceover with somebody. So yeah, it helped a lot.
And then,
yeah, and I think even the breathing, like just because a lot of the sounds that we're required to make for video games, it's going to require a strong burst of air, and sometimes you're making really loud sounds, and to know how to use your voice properly so you don't mess it up is really important. And then the other thing that Kenny and I always tell young actors who are going, I want to do this, I definitely want to do this, is just read everything that you can. Because if you can read things and you can read them and you feel very natural, like
Read
you
out
look at
loud.
something, read out loud. And then, because that's the situation, like if you ever get called into an audition, you're not going to see or know the theme of the game before you get there. You're just going to get a script. And to be able to look at that and go, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to do it this way. And I'm going to just put my whole self into it. I'm not going to be afraid of being a fool. And I'm just going to do it. And if you're comfortable with reading, you're comfortable with going all in, it really can be successful for you.
Yeah, it just makes me laugh. Yeah,
Why?
Because some of the stuff that we do have to do, it's crazy, because they'll tell you what they want, and then you feel like a complete idiot sometimes doing it. But if you can't do it, then they're going to use somebody else.
well,
So
And it's
it
really
happens a
fun.
lot with
like it's
it happens a
super
lot with
free.
anime. It happens with anime too. It's anime characters can be so over the top. Some of them can be very serious, but most of the time it's over the top reactions.
Oh yeah.
And if you feel like a complete goof and can't do it, then it's just not going to work. But
you're having to match the performance of the actual, like, what is being animated. So in a lot of these, especially in shonen anime, like let's pick Dragon Ball for an instance. I mean, people are literally flying in the air, punching people across planets, and us, or well, rather you guys, being just human beings, are having to emulate that just with your words alone. So yeah, I can totally understand why some of that.
Yeah, it's weird. I've been doing bits and pieces on One Piece, and that's an adventure.
Oof.
So.
I've been powering through One Piece. It's my girlfriend's favorite anime. It's a beast, but oh my god,
dude, the Japanese are over 1,000 episodes now.
Oh my god, yeah, and
we're behind on dubs over here, but
yeah, I'm doing the dub, and so but she's all caught up with the sub, and it's like, oh my god, 1,000.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I've only seen about 60 episodes. That's about it.
It's a behemoth, but man, is it good. But so. Obviously, this is all what you guys have worked up to, but did you guys ever dream that you would one day voice? I mean, Bowser, Princess Peach, I mean, these are timeless characters. Did you guys ever imagine that one day you guys would be the voices behind these characters? No.
No.
Pretty easy
No.
answer.
No, I was, at the time I was hoping for something to break. I just didn't think it would be something that big.
Sure.
Really. It's, and then I didn't even act on that for years. I was like, all right, I'm Bowser, and I kept doing propane and propane accessories. So that's what I did. I was a propane service tech for 13 years.
Really?
Somewhere around there. So yeah, I used to sell propane and propane accessories. Tell you what, yeah, it's but
Man,
I,
that was
I, and most of the time I didn't even bother telling anybody anything. That nobody cared,
Right.
so I didn't
Right.
care. I'm fixing somebody's fireplace, and I look over and I go, "Oh, you guys have a Wii? Do you play, Mario games?" And they're like, "Oh, my kids love Mario Kart and blah blah blah." And I go, "Yeah, I'm the voice of Bowser." They're like, "Nuh-uh,
They don't believe you,
nuh-uh."
though. They don't
oh my,
believe you. It's
well,
actually pretty
I,
humbling sometimes,
Yeah,
because
see now they can look me up on
they
IMDb and
can
all
look
that
you up.
jazz.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Anime News Network and things like that.
I
So
don't know. Like, I admire your guys' restraint. Like, if I was the voice of Princess Peach or Bowser, would literally find every opportunity to put it in every conversation ever.
I have a story since we've been doing distance learning, and we have an 8-year-old daughter. And so we are in this Zoom class, and there's all these little kids, and they're doing show and tell, and they're bringing Mario stuff. They've got Mario, they've got Bowser, they've got Toads and stuff. Like, they're into these games. And so I told my daughter, I said, well, what about, like, for next week, do you want to bring me, because I'm the voice of Princess Peach, and you could say this is my mom. And she goes, can I bring the dog? Like,
What?
wah, wah, wah.
Oh my
reacted.
but it is a very cute dog.
I mean, admittedly, sure, but I mean, why can't
It
you
is a
have
cute
you
dog.
holding the dog or something? I don't know. Well, speaking of these characters, though, I mean, they definitely have a long ingrained history with one another. And so they obviously have a lot of moments in these games where they are together. So for the two of you, working together and being these characters, was the chemistry between the two of you instantaneous, or did it kind of take a little bit of time to develop?
We didn't meet each other until a year and a half ago.
Really?
Was that January of 2018 or
Yep.
18? So was it 2018?
I think so. Yeah,
it
we
19?
met he had been doing cons. It was
Yeah.
18.
Yeah.
Really?
And I did my first con and met him, but
Yeah,
we
that was the
always
first time we
recorded
met.
separately. So we had never worked together. I mean, I love, like, in Galaxy, like, I love the wedding. I love, like, there's so many cool things, but that the characters get to do. We never met personally. I mean, we're friends now, but we
Sure.
didn't know each other.
Yeah,
I know.
I still sometimes I've told people that I met Sam at the studio once in passing, but now I don't really know if that was true or not. I sort of started to believe it after a while, but I don't know. I thought we did,
I don't
but
know if we did. It
it
was
may have
really
been.
fast if we did.
It was
There was a
yeah.
group of people. I'm kind of shy, and he's more talking, and so he's in this group of people talking, and I don't, so we didn't really talk. He didn't talk to me
Yeah.
until a couple of years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I had only met Charles one time at the studio before I started doing cons. So
God, that is
yeah, we don't record together.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I did real quick, guys. Before we go on, all the folks watching at home, already a lot of you have already messaged Visioncon directly, your viewers' comments and questions. You still have plenty of time to do so because we're about at the halfway point. But if you haven't already, you still can either message Visioncon directly or put your viewers' comments and questions. If you're watching this live here on Facebook, just write in the live chat. And with that, let's move on. And I did want I did want to ask, so these characters, obviously, hollowed names, we all know and love them, but it admittedly, they talk a lot, but not in complete, coherent English sentences.
Yeah,
But
especially me.
But yeah, but you still totally understand what Bowser, Peach, Toad, and Toadette, and Dry Bowser are all saying, just, with the inflections or the, delivery of the lines. So I did want to ask, how do you breathe such life into these characters who, really don't speak full sentences?
Yeah, it's a strange thing, especially with Bowser. I've been asked that, at least something similar, a few times before. I don't know. It's you look you read the script and you have directors and producers and they're like, this is the situation. We don't have a piece of video for it. Every once in a while they will. They'll have some half-finished bits and they'll show me something, but mostly it's just a description. And so I have to gurgle and growl in the right emotional state.
Sure.
It sounds so easy.
It's certainly not though, because anybody can growl, but to add like such goosebumps. Samantha, what about you? I mean, Peach definitely has maybe a little bit more, like coherent English
She
speaking.
gets to say words.
Definitely.
I get to say words.
I've said
And I think
four.
a lot of times they keep the characters with really short phrases because they're going to use these games in Japan as well, and they want everyone to be able to play and to have fun. And so I think that's why they do it that way. But it's we know these characters, like we love them. They're part of us. And so when if I'm putting on Peach, like that's what we're going to do, and anything that I'm going to say comes through Peach, that comes through her. And then same with Toad. Like if it's Toad, usually they'll be kind enough to record Toad on a separate day from Peach, so that you get to put in a whole new thing, because they're so different. And it's really fun. But we just have them with us. It's like, now we're going to do this. And it comes very naturally. It's very fun. And it's very satisfying when I don't know if you have this, Kenny, but for me, I'll do the line, and I can feel when it hit. It's like, that was the one. That was it. Right there.
Yeah.
That was Peach.
Yeah.
That was her. And it just makes you so happy. You're just like, yay. That was
the money take.
It's very satisfying.
It's bizarre. I was laughing while you were talking though, because I was I can't, every time I hear her do that Toad thing, it blows me away. I can make a lot of bizarre noises, but that's not one of them. So
it's a scary sound if you're not ready for it, isn't it?
I would want to record it, on a different day too. But
because I got to ask you how you preserve your voice, because when I found out that I was going to interview both of you, and like when Kenny was like, why don't we do it both on the same day? I mean, that was the easiest yes I was ever able to say. But I was just talking with my friends, super jazzed, and I did, just to be funny, I did tried to do the Toad sound like ha. But see, I can't even do it, and it was like it rasped my throat, and I was like, what do you do so that like it doesn't just absolutely murder your throat?
It's just, we taper it, and so we take the small sounds, the quieter sounds first, and we'll record those. And then where Toad is getting super off the charts excited, we record those last. We drink lots of water like you're doing right now, and lemon, and then just nail those big ones, and then I'm done. Like we'll do 4 hours of recording and it's done, and maybe come back the next day and do a couple things that need to be fixed. But I save the really big explosive sounds for the end, and then if I trash it, and then it'll heal by the next day. And Peach, we always record Peach or Baby Peach or anything that has that high light sound first, so that it does, because you can't really do Peach after Toad. It's just impossible. Like
can't imagine.
But
I usually won't take any breaks while I'm in there either. So because they'll be all like, "You want to take a break? You okay?" I'm all like, "Let's just go."
You want to stay in the zone. Like you definitely want to stay in the zone if you've got it going.
Well, and if I stop, it seems to tighten it up.
Sure.
The voice tightens up. It can actually start to swell. So, but it's a challenge. I mean, the worst part of it that I can think of was doing Meowser. So, Meowser was painful. Everybody knows this story now, but
I want to hear this story again.
But no, the whole story doesn't need to be told, but it was so hard on my voice that I could taste blood by the time I was done with that session. So I don't think it was from my vocal cords, because that sound that what they said was Meowser, and I laughed, and they explained it was a power up, and I said, "What do you want him to sound like?" And they said, "We don't know." So I was like, okay. So I came up with a kind of a wildcat, kind of a, and the Bowser thing, you have to put them together. So you go, and you do that for I think during that session I had done regular Bowser for almost 2 hours, and then I had to do almost 2 hours of Meowser. And so, like I said, I was bleeding by the time it was done, and came back, and it had to be approved by Japan, and I was afraid I was going to have to do it over if they didn't like it, but they liked it.
Thankfully.
I know.
But so I did read something. Speaking of being in the zone, I read something about what you do in the booth sometimes to kind of get into the zone with Bowser. You do something with your hands, do you not? Yeah, there it is.
I can't stop. I can't not do it. It's like,
I mean,
I don't know. It's just this thing, you know.
all righty, guys. Well, I've actually got just 2 more questions for you before we get into the plug zone, and then finally viewers' comments and questions. So before I ask those, I do want to preface it with a lot of people who watch the show obviously watch the show because they want to come for the amazing guests like the 2 standing right before me. But a lot of them also watch it because they either want to get into the entertainment industry or already are and then just want to know what to do next. So the next 2 questions I have for 2 of some of the most successful people in that industry. The first one being rejection. So obviously rejection is a huge part of just life in general. However, I would argue if there was ever an industry that rejection was more prevalent in, I would definitely say it would be your guys' industry, otherwise known as the entertainment industry. So for rejection, does it get any easier? Or for the folks watching at home, what advice would you give them that how you kind of deal with rejection?
I guess
I
I'm
think it
going.
gets easier.
I think so. And luckily, most of the time, you don't know if you were like rejected.
Sure.
Right.
You know, I mean, they don't come back and just go, no, you know, you stink. You know, you just never hear from them. You know, you send off auditions and it's the old set it and forget it, you know, thing. So most of the time you don't hear back from it. So it's not too difficult. I mean, sometimes there's something that you really, really want,
Sure.
you know, and you're like, oh, I nailed that. I nailed it. I've got a good shot at that. Crickets, man, nothing. And you're just all like, oh, well, just try to forget about it, you know.
I think you have to trust that the thing that's right for you will come to you. Just because, I mean, I remember I did some voices for Halo, and I did like a pretty prominent part, and I was like, awesome, this is it, you know. And then I thought I did really well, and then later I looked on the credits and I was like, not so good. But you know, there was that, and then this came, and there's been other ones too. But you just go, the ones that you're supposed to do that match for you will find you, and you just do your best and do it with full heart, and it'll work out. I don't spend any time worrying about it because there's always something better. If you just keep going, there's always something better. It'll be all right.
Most of the time, it's not that it wasn't good or anything. It's just that there's another phrase that gets used a lot, and it's, I just didn't hear it in it.
Sure.
That just not what they were looking for.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they could be all like, you could have made it through 500 auditions or people that auditioned for a part, and you might have been even in the top 20 if you're lucky, if you got that far, you know. And then they listen to those they listen to those and they're just all like, I like this one better.
And nothing against you, I suppose.
No, most of the time not.
You just keep going. It's like sports. It's like pro sports. Like if you just are doing something, you mess up, you're like, you know what? Didn't happen. Keep going. And you play strong. If you let the things that didn't go how you wanted them to go mess with your game, then you can't do the next thing. You'll lose confidence. And so you just have to go, no, I'm awesome. This is great. It's gonna be all right. And then just walk on.
All right, well, in a similar vein, so for the folks watching at home that either want to get in the entertainment industry or already are and just want to know what to do next, what advice would you give them? Maybe some advice that you wish you had starting out, or maybe just some more like concrete, just broad tips that you'd give them to really up their game.
Theater. That's always my first thing when this question comes up is go act. And community theater doesn't cost anything. You know, you're not going to get paid, but it doesn't really cost you anything either. Well, unless you're me, and then I spend money on costume pieces and all kinds of stuff. But I haven't done any stage in a while since I moved. But if you want to be a voice actor, first be an actor. get out there and learn how to take direction and learn how to make an ass out of yourself, because that's what acting is most of the time.
Fair.
So if you can do that, if you can do it on stage, you probably can make it work in a booth. But you really should learn how to act. And as Sam said, you know, read out loud. If you really want to go into voice acting, even just doing audiobooks, think about it. Nobody wants to hear an audiobook read, you know, like, nobody wants that. So got to learn, got to practice, practice
And
a little.
I think a great example is Kenny and what he's done. I think that who you know helps. So if you're going to get into the business, or you're just starting to get into the business, get an agent, someone who can get you auditions, and then you can try for things. But then also make friends who do it. Like Kenny, I tease him, you know, we're going to call it Kename. He wanted to get into anime. He's doing Bowser. He's an excellent actor. You know, he's going to be fantastic. But how do you get in the door? And so we would go to these cons, and Kenny's just making friends with everybody. You know, he's making friends
especially
with
the anime people.
Yes, he's like an anime fan guy. And so then he's like moving to Texas, and then he's getting his anime auditions, and he's doing his work, and it's all starting for him. But it's making friends and letting people know you're interested, and asking for help. Hey, how would I do this? And letting people help you.
Working the lawn game. I dig it.
And move, you know, if you have to, you can move to Dallas.
Like Kenny did. Not 80-degree weather. Wow.
Where Funimation is. Alrighty, guys.
Right.
Yeah, it takes me 12 minutes to get to the studio from my house.
Yeah.
So.
Doing what you gotta. Yeah. Alrighty, guys. Well, like I mentioned earlier, you guys still have time to either message Visioncon directly, which plenty of you already have, or do it in the live chat, your viewers' comments and questions. But it is your last chance to do so, because, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the plug zone. Kenny James and Samantha Kelly, now is your opportunity to either plug, promote, advertise, whatever you want. The floor is yours.
I don't know, man. I'm just doing as much anime as I can, so watch anime.
Now, if they want to find you guys, you know, out just, you know, to get their daily dose of Kenny James or Samantha Kelly.
Oh yeah, the Instagrams. What am I on there? Kenny James Bowser.
Kenny James Bowser, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Samantha Kelly Peach.
Oh yeah, that makes sense, huh?
That makes sense.
You copied me. I remember the day. Where were we when you started your Instagram? I don't remember, but you were like, I don't know how to do this, and the guy who was
I don't know how to do this.
the handler kid was helping you. I remember.
Shout out that handler kid.
So let's see. Then Twitter. I'm not as active on Twitter, but I'm trying more. But that's Kenny James Bowser, but I had to shorten it because they don't allow you to have enough characters. So it's like Kenny James BOWSR Bowser.
Oh, okay.
I had to drop the E.
You did, yeah.
They wouldn't allow me enough characters.
Sorry.
And then I'm, you know, I think on Facebook it's just Kenny James, but yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Samantha Kelly on Facebook, and I'm excited about, but as Zach and I were talking about earlier, is I don't know when it's going to all open up, but Super Mario World, when they open at Universal Studios at the theme parks in Japan and then all over the United States and everything, right now closed because of COVID, but that is going to be amazing. It's so exciting. And these are like, that was some of the first times where Peach and Toad and some other Toad characters got to actually, for me, say longer phrases and do things that are like, wow, that's really cool. So just I'm waiting for those to open. I think that's going to be a super fun thing to go do.
They should have us open them.
100%.
I know.
Do the giant scissors and do that.
Get to go to Japan. That would be cool.
Yeah.
You guys deserve it.
I haven't been there, so.
Alrighty, guys. Well, if you're watching this live on Facebook, I've got all those links plus a few more in the live chat. Or if you're watching this later on YouTube, going to be all down there in the description box below. And with that,
that on the YouTube.
On the YouTube, God, you do that voice so well. And after that, going out of the plug zone and right into viewers' comments and questions. Alrighty, guys. Like I usually do, we're just going to split 50-50. I'll pull from the messenger and I'll pull from the live chat. So going right into the messenger. Bring this up. All right. So Nicole tuned in and wanted to know, what are some of your favorite games that you voiced Bowser and Peach?
Uh, to keep it brief, Galaxy.
Mhm.
I'm awfully fond of Mario Kart Wii because they used an ad lib that I did, and 3D World because of Meowser. And I really like Odyssey too, but I haven't finished it yet. So there you go.
That was great. I mean, you bled for one of those, so I can imagine.
Yeah. I was pretty proud of that big cat, man.
Oh,
Samantha,
that
what about
was
you?
fun. I have pretty much all the same ones. Definitely Galaxy was very, very fun.
Mhm.
And 3D World was great too. All those different, the different Peach Gold and all the extra ones. That was fun. It was very fun and creative to get to think those voices up.
Oh, yeah. Well, Connor asked a similar question, though a little different. He asked, of all the games that you guys have voiced, what are some of yours that you're favorite to play?
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart.
Yeah. I love Mario Kart. I like Princess Peach on one of the bikes probably
Oh, hell yeah.
is my favorite to race. What about you, Kenny? What do you like to play? You do Odyssey right now?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played it in a while because I've been so busy racing. But yeah, other races.
Like really racing, right?
Well, on iRacing, yeah. But
Okay.
I don't know how many $1,000s I have into my sim racing rig now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I like the kart games, and I always drive as Bowser. It doesn't matter if people are like, he's too slow or whatever. I'm all like, nah, once you get him going, it's fine. And you can bash people right off of Rainbow Road. So.
Hey, not me. I'm too fast.
Alrighty, so Tiffany tuned in and wanted to know, outside of voice acting, what are some of your guys' favorite hobbies?
Sim racing.
Sim racing, okay.
I'm a mom, so mostly our daughter is 8 years old, so I do a lot of stuff with her. And then sadly, like in quarantine, in COVID times, I've just been eating. It's like, stop eating so much food. Oh my God.
Seriously.
I'm getting heavier than Bowser. I'm just like so bummed out about it. So
I am.
My hobby.
I'm heavier than I've ever been right now. So
it's rough. We're gonna all go on a little Mario diet here.
I really need to lose about 20 pounds.
If it makes you feel better, I'm also the heaviest I've ever
been. You are not, Zach. Be quiet. Shut up.
I am, admittedly. was definitely thinner before quarantine, that's for sure.
Oh, telling you.
But okay. So other than that, so let me find one. I saw a really good one that I liked. Okay, so Alexander tuned in and wanted to know, do you have any fond memories voicing your first appearances as Bowser and Peach and Super Mario Strikers?
Oh, good question.
Strikers. I remember that it was a short session because Bowser really didn't have a lot of material in that particular game. But I still worked really hard, especially since I walked in there thinking that they wanted my audition for Bowser were the lines from Sunshine, and the tracks that they gave me for reference tracks were Scott Burns, the raw tracks with outtakes and him talking and everything. Mm-hmm. So I thought they wanted a voice match. So that's what I did. I voice matched him for the audition and they hired me. And so I walked in the studio thinking that they wanted, the talking Bowser, kind of Scott Burns Bowser. And no. So it morphed. In that first session, I realized that if all I'm going to be doing is growling and screaming and hollering like that I would have to do something different. Otherwise, it would sound too human to me. So I started morphing him from to so a big heavy.
He's so endearing.
That big heavy duty thing. I don't know what it's in here somewhere.
Sure,
it's magical. I love it.
My larynx is about 3 inches wide. So I'm not kidding. It's this wine.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Any factor.
This right here. It's that big.
Oh my God.
So I've got a big old honking voice box.
Samantha, what about you?
I'm trying to remember. I remember I was very nervous and I was sweating. because so you're kind of a studio, and it's a shut environment, and when you're
It's
trying
hot.
really hard.
Did they put you in that for that? Did they put you in the room there that was like the vocal booth was like really, really small?
It wasn't the small one, it was the bigger one, but I remember just going, woof.
Well, it gets hot. It gets hot
fun.
either way.
And I think on that one they had video. I'm trying to remember, but I think they did have video.
Uh,
and I was nervous because they would go, okay, this is 3 seconds. She's running, and then she kicks and jumps. And so it was brand new to me, and I was like, and then I would just like try to imagine, okay, and they'd be like, that was 4.5 seconds. We need 3 seconds of running and then kick and jump. Oh, okay. And then it was really hard but fun. And then the more we did it, I think the more I got used to it. I was like, oh, this is easy. This is like breathing. But the first time, that's an excellent question. It was probably a little bit stressful, honestly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Was that the first thing that you recorded for Peach?
Yeah, Strikers. Yep.
Wow, so we did start at the same time.
We did. Well,
wow.
yeah.
They recast both characters at the same time.
I was about to say, I looked
for all of those characters.
I was looking up, and I looked that up just to specify that was you guys' first shot, and absolutely.
Wow.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, Alexander, you've got a great memory.
Yeah, thank you, Alexander. That was a cool question.
All right, we got time for 2 more. So I'm going over to Daniel, who tuned in, and he asked, what's your favorite Mario game to lend your voices to? We already kind of answered that question, but let me try to tailor it a little differently. Let's say, was there any of them that were more difficult to do than others? I'll
3D World.
3D World. Okay, I can understand why for you. Samantha, any games come to mind that were a little different or difficult than most?
Yeah, probably 3D World, just because we didn't know, and this is the way it is anytime you go into the studio, you don't know what their vision for the game is, because it's all very top secret. And you have to kind of sign things that say, I will not tell my friends, I will not tell my family or anything about the plot of this game, because they're very special. And so we'll go in and we don't know what characters we're going to need to come up with. And just like Meowser or, Peach Gold or Cat Peach or anything, wow, I didn't know I was going to be doing that, and so your brain has to be really working because they're expecting you to deliver some stuff. And so that one was hard, but fun, really, and not boring. That's the thing, is it's not boring, it's exciting. Sure. So we really enjoyed it, even though that was probably the hardest one.
I have one of my scripts somewhere.
You're not supposed to have that.
Whatever script it was, they didn't tell me not to take it.
There you go.
And I don't remember which one it was. But
it'll just be our and the hundreds of people watching right now. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Since it's so long ago, I don't think they would care now.
Yeah,
all righty, we got time for one last question, so we're going.
It's only 8:16.
Yeah, we'll try to get you guys out here a little early, but so we got.
Sorry.
So Alexandria, not Alexander, Alexandria tuned in and wanted to know, are there any different things that you guys do to prep the different characters from your normal characters? I'm going to assume she means like Dry Bowser, Meowster, and like...
Nah, they just tell you to do it different. Yeah. Sometimes the direction can be just that blunt. It's like, yeah, do like what you usually do, but drier.
Okay, dry Bowser.
Be like, okay. Or do it again, but wetter.
Okay.
I've actually heard all of those.
Wetter. So, interesting. Yeah. Okay. And Samantha, for you, what about difference between, obviously, Princess Peach and Baby Peach? There's, a pretty easy difference.
Yeah.
But for Toad and Toadette, are there any different things that you do in order to make them each have their own voice?
Yeah, I try to picture the character, and then I always think of Toadette as being a little more articulate, maybe, than Toad. I'm not saying, but and then just trying to imagine even physically, like how they might hold themselves, and just holding myself like that. So, yeah, that's a good question, but it's hard to answer. I notice I do different things with different characters, and that's probably just, it feels like it should be like this. And it might not even make any sense. I mean, it's not like that, but it's
Sure.
like something that, it's just a body position.
Guy.
That guy. hard to
Just
explain,
like
but
that,
it's a
see?
feeling that character would have physically, and trying to hold that with your body to remind yourself this is, because I think the brain, the body, the mouth, all of it is connected. And so when you're doing it, you got to start with something physical that stirs you up to know what the voice is going to sound like.
Oh, Kenny.
Hello. Hello, Bowser.
Oh my God.
Somebody gave me this once.
For
It's
real?
like,
Oh my
that's
God.
cool.
I dig
It's like
it.
He's cute.
the big old 6-inch. He's heavy.
All righty, guys. Well, with that, that's about all
No
the
more?
time we've got. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has
No
been
more?
episode 37 of Visioncon Live. Now, before we wrap things up, Kenny James and Samantha Kelly, any final thoughts to leave us on?
Love you. We love you guys. Thank you so
Bye.
much for playing the games and for being
Yeah.
friends. And we can't wait to get back into real life. And
Oh, I can't. It's,
see
yes,
everybody in
please.
person.
I'm like pretty old, so maybe I can get the vaccine earlier.
There you go.
Okay.
They're gonna, they gotta give it to the first responders and the hospital people, and then they need to give it to the old people. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna walk in there and go, I need that right here.
Well, I mean, you could also drop that, each of you could be like, hey, I voice Princess Peach, or hey, I voice.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that there's
Maybe-
so much clout that I can get a vaccine.
Slap one of those vaccines on me. No.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I can't even remember what it's like to. Well, actually, I do, because I did go to a convention not too long ago.
There you go.
But
Slowly
it's
but surely,
like
we're getting back to
got to
it.
get back out. Yeah, I went to Tennessee a few weeks ago. It was weird.
Heck yeah.
I think too, like just the idea of for however long, like if we have a few more months or even 6 more months at this, like just the time that you spend in your own world and what you're doing, keep creating in your mind, keep messing around with voices, keep doing the things you love to do. And then by the time we get out of this, who knows what thing will present itself to you. And so just keep being amazing in your own world. And then when you come out of it, you're going to be like, yes, I built up for this. I was in training.
Yeah, maybe start your own internet show so you don't go literally insane. Just
There you go, Zach.
I was really, I was
chips like I'm doing. Don't do that. That's not cool. Don't do
I
that.
had all this intention of streaming, and I was like, all right, I'm going to learn how to do iRacing, and I'm going to play Snow Runner, and I'm going to play American Truck Simulator, and I'm going to do all this stuff, and I'm going to stream it. And I haven't started streaming yet, but if I do, it's on YouTube. It's like, what did I call it? Kenny James from Bowser's Basement. That's the name of the YouTube channel.
Sweet.
I dig that. Well, and if you guys watch this later on YouTube, link's going to be right down there in the description.
Yeah, Kenny James from Bowser's Basement. So far, I haven't done anything but talk about what I want to do.
We got to start somewhere.
I know.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in for Visioncon Live, episode 37. This, of course, I'm your host, Zach Wilson, but much more importantly, this has been my very special guests, Kenny James and Samantha Kelly. Make sure to check out all the links down in the description below. And as always, guys, always remember that life's better when you've got friends to share it with.